Hi, welcome to a run-through of my Blu-rays that I've watched over the last month, as well as I've got a few DVDs, I think, as well. Right, let's go through them. There's a lot of Italian, there's lots of sort of Western, and all the Blu-rays suddenly fall off the desk at that point, as I say. Blood and Black Lace. This is weird. Mario Bava. Never say his name right. This one's one set of fashion plays. Again, one of these things where the police really... you've got virtually everyone is dying around a certain building and no one is closing the place down. No one is putting all these people in protection. It's just visually absolutely amazing. The 4K was just great. I really, really loved it. But it's just like you had a character obviously going around, you didn't know who he was. That was pretty easy to guess, but still. You got loads of special extras as well. Again, lots of things. Now, when I'm going through some of these, I can't always remember exactly every single extra because, of course, there's lots of them. The ones I like are ones where it discusses the visuals. I love the ones that discuss the music, especially love the music, and also things like the restoration as well, of course, the history of the sort of things. Strange Colours of Your Body's Tears, Gender and Giallo, visual essay by, it's not Kim Newman. Normally Kim, got lots here that have got Kim Newman on, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. Great one, 4K. It was reasonably priced as well. Lots of these 4Ks are often like 20, 30 quid. I think this one was a lot cheaper than that, so I was quite pleased with that. Rabid, thoroughly enjoyable, weird Canadian film, completely daft. This character, she gets skin graft. She's had an accident, she has a skin graft. Then suddenly she has this thing, very odd. I'm not going to say because it's pretty gruesome. And then from then on, you've got characters, some who seem to go completely mad straight away, and then other characters who seem to be fairly rational for a while, and then suddenly go, depending on the plot purposes. But I thoroughly got Marilyn Chambers in it, who was actually quite good in this, very odd, and I did enjoy it. And the extras are pretty good as well. You've got there talking about Quiet Revolution, about the Canadian horror film. Unfortunately, just part one. Was there a part two, part three, part four? Would have been nice to have seen a few more, but 1977, never seen the film, so it was nice to actually finally watch. The cover there, I don't know why they chose that picture, and obviously it's the iconic picture, maybe the poster, but it's like, such a minor part of the story, doesn't really even capture Rabid, doesn't capture it for me, but still, that's obviously what they went for. The Mummy, got a few Tom Cruise ones in this month, I quite enjoyed them actually. This one, The Mummy, was excellent, really felt quite for The Mummy as well, which, you shouldn't really be feeling for Tom Cruise and all the other characters. But no, The Mummy, very well done, very good performance by her. And you wouldn't have thought of Mummy sometimes one of these things you're not going to get much enthusiasm, but this I did. And it says here, spectacular version, the legend that's fascinated cultures, The Mummy, tomb deep beneath the desert, ancient princess whose destiny was unjustly taken from her is awakened in her current day. Well, to be fair, it wasn't really unjustly. I mean, it just happened he married someone else. Anyway. And then obviously, I don't want to spoil it, but it's got a lot of decent extras. And of course, it is Blu-ray. Love Blu-rays. Blu-ray is my favourite format. I've got 4Ks. Obviously, I've got that one. They're great. The picture quality is great. But really, most time, I'm quite happy with the Blu-ray. I love this one. Death Has Blue Eyes. Actually, I think she had green eyes. But she wasn't actually... That's the thing. And there's a bit of a twist in the story. There's, in fact, a few twists in the story. But it's a paranormal... Actually, even weirder is the woman on the front isn't the character that is the main character. Why did they put that? I just don't understand that. Obviously the eye, I guess. But you had these two guys. It was a fun story. Loved the setting. All in Greece. It was just real sun-drenched sort of places places I love going to myself. And I just love this film. Love the character there as well. And it's also got some really decent extras on this. But this is just an odd film. On vacation, and the pair embark on a string of scams and erotic dalliances that eventually lead them into contact with an elegant, wealthy woman. And there's some good twists in it. I did enjoy it. Lord of Misrule. I would say I did enjoy most of this, but I actually fell asleep halfway through the film, and I didn't bother actually. Suddenly the film jumps. This vicar, she's a vicar. She comes to this place, and all those sort of things. A child, time for sacrifice. You can obviously guess that, but it was well done. But suddenly, I thought it didn't really make much sense. Or at least I could see with, of course, the Wicker Man. But this one wasn't so. But it was enjoyable. I still enjoyed the film. And say it was a small town steeped in folklore and tradition, hungers for a sacrifice, as you do, obviously to make certain harvest. Really? This is like 2020 or something. Really, we're going now. Rebecca, Tuppence Middleton, has taken over as vicar in a rural English village. It seems safe, friendly and secure. And then her daughter, Grace, vanishes at the harvest festival. The secrets of the village. But unfortunately, I did fall asleep, and suddenly I woke up with a scene. Suddenly, she was slightly changed in the story. Oh, I didn't realise you were right, sort of thing. There's something odd happening in this village. Certainly was happening, odd happening. Lord and Miss Rule, worth watching, but it just maybe could have been a much better film. That's one of those things that I absolutely love. This one, In the Eye of the Hurricane. Story-wise, it was a bit weird, a bit odd. Not really much happens particularly. A few twists and turns as the characters sort of. But this guy obviously is, and this woman's very wealthy, and there's another woman that mysteriously appears, and there's also another friend. It's a triangle or quadrangle in the storyline. This is also known under the Fox with a Velvet Tail, which I think describes the film much better than The Eye of the Hurricane, which doesn't really, to me, describe it. Fox with a Velvet Tail is definitely much better. Lusty Lovers. Who thought that was any good as a title? That was a terrible title. The super sleazy In the Eye is one of the finest Italian obscurities yet unearthed by 88 films. Well, I thought it was very good. I loved it. It was like some great, that was just a beautiful scene where it sort of hangs down from a tree. And a bit like the Spider-Man one. Spider-Man and Mary Jane. But didn't have many extras. In fact, very few extras. Alternate scene, which was actually without sound. There was a scene that was like where they obviously did it slightly different for maybe different regions or something. They just didn't put the sound to it. Just odd. Alternate English titles. I love the credit sequence. The credit sequence was great. The music was great as well in this film. I would have loved a lot more extras about the music. Still, very, very watchable. Good performances. Nice twist. And yet another one I bought from Keck. Get lots of Keck films. They have, for some weird reason, they have lots of Italian films. I'm always picking those up. And this is another one I picked up at Keck. And I just give a punt. I hope that it's going to be good. I don't always know. The Beyond, I did enjoy. Excessive amounts of horrible scenes where people's bodies are dissolving, I did not enjoy. I have to say that does not appeal to me. I thought, really, I would have liked a bit more zombie action maybe. But the atmospherics, the visuals were really good. But I just thought, no. This one, got a hotel. She goes with a hotel. I had a really good performance from Catriona McCall. I really thought she was great. And it's also a ghostly blind woman who seems to hold the answers. Very Lovecraftian, where there's a book and all that sort of stuff. And lots of people mysteriously die when they sort of try to work out sort of what's happening, which I couldn't make much sense. Also, the start sequence when these people go off in a sort of boat towards the hotel at the start wasn't really particularly explained, personally. And also there's things like there was a cleaner going clean. I was thinking, no, don't do it. Don't go in that room. You think the woman would have said, don't go number 36. I've just opened it. By the way, it's known as a place where there's like a hell sort of, they always build these houses or hotels on sited on a cursed gateway to hell. Very strange film. Fulci, that was, Lucio Fulci's masterpiece of face-chewing super action, zombie super action, milk-eyed psychics, etc. Yes, that was pretty awful as well. The embalming fluid bit, gross, absolutely gross. But the extras are great. Did enjoy those extras. Lots and lots of ones. Beyond Italy, lots of interviews with various people, remembering obviously him and everything else, audio commentaries, etc., as well as various Q&As that were quite fascinating. Barbarella. I watched this years and years ago for about 10 minutes. Didn't ever see any more of the film. So it was always one that I've always wanted to see what actually is in it. I always love that cover. Why has the guy there not got his angel wings? But still, who knows? It's just an odd cover. You think they would have had him floating above or something. Maybe it just wouldn't have worked. Queen of the Galaxy, not certain. She isn't really Queen of the Galaxy at all. But there she is. She's out of this world. I love the way they've done that. But the year 40,000, I should say, and then she has to go and find the lost evil scientist because he's developed some evil weapon. And Duran Duran, obviously related to the music, obviously the band, get lost in space with Barbarella. David Hemmings was great. I loved it. It was just a weird, psychedelic, weird, ultra. I would like to have bought the 4K. There's a new 4K that's come out. Unfortunately, the 4K is very expensive. And also, it's got a couple of Blu-rays, which are all region locked. So I'm not going to buy them. If they were region free, I probably would have said, you know what, this was a really great film. One that I'm definitely going to get the full-on package. But not if they got locked. Hopefully, maybe some UK company will come out with their own Barbarella, and I will probably buy that in 4K. Bronson is back on the streets. Did he ever go away? He was in lots of these films. It always felt like he was in lots of these films anyway. 10 to Midnight. Thoroughly enjoyable. A cop, a killer, a bloody deadline. Anyway, it was good. It was very enjoyable. Some really good performances from Bronson, Lisa Blacher, and he was good. I can't remember his name now. Probably, I assume, Andrew Stevens. He was very good. Really decent film. Or maybe he was the killer. I don't know. Probably got it completely wrong. Jeffrey Lewis as well as Wilfred Bainley. I hate it when they put that font, really thin font. It makes it very hard to read. Some good extras as well. The extras were good with lots of things. Remembering Bronson, Knife and Death, interview with the actress Gianna Tomasina, Charlie's partner, interview with, Andrew Stevens. He was that partner, yeah. Mike Malley on the cop sleaze movement. And I have to say, Bronson should have been kicked out of the force. I mean, some of the things he was doing, I just thought, really? No. But still, City of the Living Dead, another zombie one. This one's another, with the sleepy village of Dunwich this time, the dead are rising. Well, actually, not that many dead, but still, there was a vicar that dies, or hanged priest, I should say. Prediction of zombie-filled apocalypse. Had a weird start sequence, the start of it, where they're doing a seance, and it's like, and then suddenly they jump to this other backwards and forwards. Slightly maybe that's what they wanted, that effect. It did sort of strike me slightly odd, but it was well done. It gets their brains drilled out. Town Misfit is about to get his brain. Really? I'm sorry, I've said a spoiler, but it does say on the back. I'm just reading the blurb there. You think they would leave that bit out? Actually, well, that was pretty gruesome. Will they find a way to stop the rotting hordes before everyone in the town gets devoured? And it was pretty good. I mean, there was like in various places when they go to one of these pit stop cafes sort of thing, and suddenly turns around, suddenly there's one there, and he turns around, where do they appear from? Who knows? That's the trouble with it. Actually, that would make a great zombie film. One, you have zombies that just literally can jump, time jump or whatever, or space jump. So you're walking along, you think going away from them, and suddenly you run straight into them again. That would make it really awkward, wouldn't it? Who knows? St. Trinians, love this, very funny. Rupert Everett is always great. I love his films. Very funny. There's a character here, Russ Brand. Colin Firth, always good. Colin Firth is so brilliant in this. And everyone else is great. I love this film. This St. Trinian's infamous school for young ladies facing financial crisis. They always were. New Education Minister, walking disaster, Colin Firth. Is an old flame of the headmistress. I just love that sequence. Jodie Whittaker was great as the sort of receptionist. She was brilliant. Love that. And the ruthless pupils join forces to steal a famous painting. I'm looking forward to see the second one. The one with David Tennant. I've got that in Blu-ray as well. So I'm looking forward to that one at some point. Hatchet for the Honeymoon. This was weird. Another one of these weird serial killer ones. Refused divorce by his uncaring wife and haunted by childhood trauma, John takes out his murderous frustrations on a string of would-be brides who innocently cross his path. Undoubtedly influenced, blah, blah, blah. Real chilling. It was very well done. Hatchet for the Honeymoon. Thoroughly watchable film. Another Mario Bava. Now, most of the time with the Mario Bava ones, I just love it for the visuals and sound. Sometimes the story, the general plot, I'm thinking, maybe not. Probably, and I don't know, probably had some useless detectives in it, because they always seem to be in these films. They've got the worst detectives ever. You know, something happens, you think you put two and two together. No, we're just going to let things go on. I love this one. Yeah, Mask of the Red Death. Roger Corman obviously just died. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get this. I've watched it years ago. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Vincent Price was absolutely brilliant. One of the best film adaptations of Poe, particular brand of lush horror. Visually, it's great. There's a few bits that really surprised me. They talked about one point where scene where apparently only the main character, obviously Death, is in red. I was thinking, but half the people in the dance were wearing red. Anyway, that was a weird sequence. That was very odd at the end with that. And of course, there's Jane Asher as well in that. This is the first ever fully uncut extended. It wasn't vast amount, but it was good. Story stars as the evil Prince Prospero who sells his soul to the devil. And he's got these rooms and things which actually visually look really amazing. Colour and censorship in the Mask. Kim Newman, of course, talking about various things, and another in conversation with Kim Newman at BFI. That's Roger Corman. That was a very long Q&A. Worth watching. I'm not sure why they put that on the cover though. Vintage classics. Really? Anyone who knows the film, you think, no, don't put that scene on the film, on the cover. His Girl Friday. Love this one. It's got Cary Grant. Cary Grant film, always great. Rosalind Russell, not an actress I'm that familiar with, but she was excellent as well. This has got two films. I haven't watched the other one yet, the front page. It's apparently based, the front page, and then it was His Girl Friday, same sort of film. And it's got just a great little story. Go backwards and forwards, there's some great scenes. Just basically one room most of the time. There's one or two rooms or thing. It's just great. Conniving but charismatic editor and ex-husband Walter Burns, who dangles the chance for her to scoop a fellow news writer with the story of an impending execution. Very well. I love the bit where he's... Don't want to spoil it, but this is great. And it's also got some decent extras as well. Lots and lots of great interviews, as well as the making of. Also, it's got a radio adaptation. I love those ones when they have that radio adaptation of The Girl Friday from 1940. Also, a new piece about the Restoration, which is always great. New piece about the playwright, and also about the play, etc. Just brilliant, because it was based on a play. Mary Poppins returns. I've actually just got Mary Poppins as well on Blu-ray, but this one I got the 4K because for some weird reason this was priced about £4 or £5. I don't know why. On Amazon, I saw it. I thought, ooh, I'll have a copy of that. I love Emily Blunt, and she was excellent in this as Mary Poppins. Very odd Mary Poppins, I have to say, but I guess that's the way they want to portray her. I loved all the other characters as well. Great. I mean, it was great. Just yeah. Who else was in it? Winshaw, always good. Always good. Actually, weirdly, they don't actually mention who else is in the film on the front cover. That's terrible, isn't it? You think they might put a few little bit of listings of some of the other actors actually in the film. But it was fun, and I loved the Colin Firth in this. Just Colin Firth was absolutely superb. Really great. I think Colin Firth is one of those actors that really plays the sort of that nasty character really well, because you're so expecting him to be so, he's a lovable character. And then when he plays that sort of slightly not so nice character. The only DVD I've got in this pile, Danger Diabolique. Now, this was based on a comic book, Italian comic book. Out for all he can take, seduce or get away with. He's basically, you really shouldn't be wanting him to succeed. It should be a way, but at the same time you do, of course. He's the hero of the story. But at the same time, many ways, I'm surprised they never made more. Because, of course, the Danger Diabolique series of comic books have run for years and years and years. I don't know if they're still going. Maybe they are. But it had a really weird sort of like suave psychedelic era thief called Diabolique. Can't get enough of life's good or glittery things. He's got this sort of, he's like the equivalent of Batman, but it's sort of got all this sort of equipment, obviously underground passages and sort of area where he's got all his cars and everything else. Very odd. But I did enjoy it. It's got a few extras as well, unmasked. The character was wooden as anything. I mean, really, really wooden. but it was very, and of course you've got the useless police, absolutely useless police, really pathetic, but it was very watchable. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm glad I got it. The only reason I got it, because I didn't know anything about it, was because of Barbarella. They mentioned it. I thought, oh, it's connected to Barbarella, so Danger Diabolique, definitely worth getting. Weirdly, it's not available, I don't think, on 4K. I'm surprised they have not brought that out in 4K. Shock. This was great. This was a very odd one. This woman comes back to a family home with her husband and the kid. Got a kid there as well. Oh, Omen. Something. I was like, oh. Anyway, her young son from a previous marriage, but domestic bliss proves elusive as numerous strange and disturbing occurrences. Dead former husband. Is the house possessed, etc. Very odd. Again, another Mario Bava. Again, plot, you could argue about, but great visuals. Visuals absolutely superb all the way through this. Yet another one, obviously from Arrow Video. Love these Arrow Video ones. High definition Blu-ray, etc., etc. Brand new 2K restoration. I thought the picture quality looked great. I'm always happy with 2K. Blu-ray. I don't mind 4K. I mean, obviously 4K is nice. I love it when they bring out the 4K plus Blu-ray, because then at least you've got a choice. If the 4K doesn't play or whatever, you have problems with it, at least you've got the Blu-ray to fall back on. And this one's got stylistic diversity of Mario Bava, shock horror. You've got various interviews with various people, critics, etc., and a lot more. Very, very watchable film. Now, I don't know if we would say it's horror or if it's crime or whatever. It's quite a lot of these films you think, maybe that was horror, but this was definitely a horror film. But I wasn't actually fearful from it. It wasn't like the ones, where like this one where everyone's dissolving sort of thing. That was pretty gruesome. This was just really quite funny. Just brilliant. I've never seen any sort of 1970s Japanese horror ones. In fact, I haven't got many 1970s or 60s sort of Japanese films. So it was nice to get this one. And I loved it. Vampire doll. No vampire doll at all in it. Doesn't matter, does it? But it was very, very funny. Young man goes missing after visiting his girlfriend's isolated country home. His sister and his boyfriend trace him to a creepy mansion, as you do, and a gruesome family history. Also, Lake of Dracula, which sort of followed the Dracula story, the general gist of the Dracula story, except done in Japan. But weirdly with sort of places that look very much like English houses. It was very odd. Really, I was surprised. I wasn't, but it was good. The acting was good. Loved it. Though the last one was daft as well. They were all daft. There's no getting around it. They were suffering a terrifying nightmare of vampire with blazing golden eyes. I love his white scarf as well. They had Dracula. So it was odd. Lots of the characters, they sort of like wander and some characters sort of like disappear out of the story. You're thinking, what happened to them? Are they still wandering around? Or did they? However, abounding with images of dark, thunderous nights, ghostly mansions and bloody fangs. It's got 3 films on it. Really worth watching. I loved the Kim Newman on the blood. The guy knows so much about films and about horror films and things and everything like that. Wow. I mean, he must be a regular on all these sort of discs because he knows so much about all these films. I loved it. It was very funny. And the films were absolutely great. Really worth checking out. I think also it was reasonably priced as well. This one, What Have They Done to Solange? One of these ones I've purchased in another Italian sort of weird film. Weirdly, because it was set in the UK. It's just odd. School, yeah. St Mary's Catholic College. Student Elizabeth witnessed one of the murders, but hazy recollections of a nice... The police in this were absolutely useless again. It's one of those ones you think, oh my... it's also got the amateur detective, which is the school, but, really? Sort of like the police? No. It was daft. But it was thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyable. It had a great soundtrack as well. I love the soundtrack. And also some decent extras. But it was odd. Sexually sadistic is preying on the girls of St Mary's Catholic College. Yeah. This was good. Dream Demon, the director's cut. Timothy Spall was great in this. In fact, Jimmy Nail as well. Both were, but Timothy Spall more than him. Awful as a reporter and photographer, but she was great. She's just about to get married, and suddenly she was having these dreams and having lots of dreams. And she's waking up different places. She murders someone, then she wakes up and, of course she hasn't, or has she? We don't know after a while. And that's the thing, it's Dream Demon. And it's like a London house, sprawling London house, where she starts to experience strange and terrifying nightmares. Definitely true. Sleazy journalist Diana soon crosses paths with American tourist Jenny, who appears to have a strange connection to the foreboding house and its dark past. Got some great extras as well. Did thoroughly enjoy that film. Don't know why I've never seen it before. One is one of the ones that stuck on like Legend Extra. And it's probably been on. I just missed it. Live, Die, Repeat. Love this with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. Obviously Groundhog Day. If you're not really keen on Tom Cruise, you probably won't enjoy it. If you're not into Groundhog Day films where you've got the time loop, I thought it was much better than... I watched Source Code. I didn't enjoy that. But Source Code is one of the ones I think I will watch again. I probably will enjoy it second time. Quite often I do with films. I watch it first time, I think, I didn't like that. Then the second time I watch it, I think, actually that wasn't too bad. Maybe I was just a bit harsh on it first time. But this one, Live, Die, Repeat, it was good. You didn't really get to know any of the other characters particularly because, of course, it kept on jumping backwards and forwards, jumping all the way through the film. I thought maybe there was a bit excessive sometimes. But the extras were good. Did enjoy the extras, even though I must admit I was wondering why they had to have so heavy exosuits all the way through the film. Just seemed a bit silly. This was very enjoyable. Night of the Demon. I watched this years and years and years ago, and I thought, you know what, I must get that. Indicator, I really enjoy their films. They just brought out a new one that I'm looking forward to get, which is probably terrible. The Confessions of, or is it The Adventures of? One of those ones, of the taxi driver, and they're probably awful. I haven't watched those films ever. I'm probably going to regret getting them if I do get that box set. But Indicator generally do bring out lots of great films, and I'm looking forward to those. But anyway, this is about Night of the Demon, a horror film, nothing to do with... but you got here, it's also got tons and tons of special features. Kim Newman again, strange enough. Also, I think there's like the music and things, also about the finding bits of the film. Because there was like variations, different lengths of film. You got here original mono audio commentaries. You got the original UK theatrical cut. You got the US theatrical cut as well. Also many others. Also a documentary featuring actor Peggy Cummins, and also many others. This is just a great film. I really loved it. I love the fact that obviously this person passes this code or whatever, some writing, and then of course this is obviously out to get you. Well, it's, I think actually at that point, you know what, once you've done that, I am going to go on a holiday. I'm going to go off to South Africa or Venezuela. Just so then that would solve it, wouldn't it? So you think, by the time I get back, very watchable though. That would ruin the film, wouldn't it? You have to have the character sort of gloating there. You sort of gloat. Not gloating, that's not the right word. He's got that. I don't know why, he didn't really need to go that extreme, I think. Just because people will sort of, criticise him, sort of trying to bring him down. I think that's a bit of extreme. But still, Hannie Caulder, I love this film. I think I love most of the films in this. This is trouble with sometimes. I mean, most of the time, of course, I buy films that I like, so therefore, of course, then I'm going to turn around and review that generally I like them. Some films I have come to, and I think, you know what, I loved it when I first saw it on TV, and then I get the film and I think, you know what, this was rubbish. There are some films I think, that's terrible. But this one definitely wasn't. A Western, 88 films, a British Western, no less. I mean, it's got Robert Culp, who's great in it, absolutely brilliant. Christopher Lee, really nice to see him in a role that's not like Dracula, etc. So that was great. Bracken Welsh is really good. I mean, yeah, absolutely fine. Hannie Caulder, Ernest Borgnine, there was 3 characters. They were horrible. Though I was watching the film, there was a start, and again, it's a bit of spoiler. They go into a bank, they bungle everything. I don't know how they ever actually live because they screw up everything. But you got these very soldiers that chase after them, and they appear in some parts of the film, chasing after them. They're still on our trail. then what happens to them? Did they just give up? Sorry, that's a bit of a spoil. But I was sort of expecting a bit more from that. But still, doesn't matter. Because the key thing, of course, is Raquel Welch. That's the key thing. I love this film. I loved all the scenery. The film itself was great. Soundtrack was great. And also, I loved the extras. And the reason I loved the extras, there were not many. Pity. I wish there were more. I would have loved it on the sound, etc. But the account of the accountant, really enjoyed that one. I love those sort of oddball ones where you've got a guy who's the accountant and he discusses about the film. Talking about, they couldn't afford this or couldn't afford that, or they changed things or whatever. Sort of things that you don't normally hear about. So I was quite fascinated to hear that one. Also, the one here, Adam Scoville on Hannie Caulder was very interesting as well. Very, very watchable film from 88. And I love the cover. The cover is just such a great cover. And of course, if you take that off, you can see it's obviously the same there as well. Oh, other than on the back, it's obviously black on the back. There. Very worth checking out. Hannie Caulder. And they've got lots of new films that are coming out, old films that are coming out. I really hope they continue to produce ones as good as this. And hopefully they'll find some more obscure sort of Western films like this. Because I do love a good Western that's more unusual. Sort of not your average Western ones. This sort of thing is definitely not that. But quite brutal. Very brutal in places. So what else I've been watching? Well, I've been watching Inside Number 9, which of course is coming to assume a finale, a final episode. I mean, they've been brilliant. I really, really loved the one with the doorbell, sort of looking the view and the neighbours. That was a great episode. There's been some really other good episodes in the series. That was just brilliant. I love the underground one. That was great. I've thoroughly enjoyed Doctor Who. Didn't enjoy the first one. Space Babies one was terrible. The Beatles one could have been good. It just slightly bugged me. There was too many things that I thought were wrong with it, but I still enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was a disaster. But the second one was a third one, I should say. Third one was brilliant. The landmine one. Absolutely love that story. That was great. And I think Doctor Who works best when it's on a very small scale, low, just 4 or 5 actors in a scene, and that's it. It just works so more intense. The Doctor was brilliant. Millie was brilliant. It was great. Really great story. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Then we had the next story, the fourth one, which was masterpiece. I absolutely, sort of like Blink. It wasn't as good as Blink. I don't think it was. To me, I think Blink is one of the best ones. And Heaven Sent, probably best Doctor Who's ever. That was obviously when you got one actor, and this was a one actor story. Basically, it was a single story where it was just great, where you had this person 73 yards. We don't know who it is, and I don't want to spoil the story. If you haven't watched it, you definitely should watch it because it's just a brilliant, brilliant performance by Millie Gibson. I just loved it, and well, everything about it. The Welsh village was just great. I loved the performances from Sean Phillips. Just absolutely superb. She's not in for very long, and all the other actors in that pub, just great. And also the finale bit, which I thought was great with the politician and everything, and just masterpiece, absolute masterpiece. Really worth checking. If you haven't watched it, I've got, whenever I mention these episodes to friends, and they, oh, no, I'm not going to watch Doctor Who. I think they're missing some good episodes, really good episodes. I say the first couple were not great, and I know everyone's hated Doctor Who online. Lots of comments about it, but I think it's not bad. I think it's improving and improving and improving. And last week's, I should say, well, basically from this week's for me, because I've only just watched it, the Dot and Bubble. And I just thought, wow, that was a brilliant, absolute classic story. Up there in the top 10 of Doctor Who's. Absolute masterpiece. Really, really powerful story. Just great performances from obviously the main woman who's in this bubble, Facebook bubble or whatever, or obviously a social media bubble where she's sort of got all her friends constantly, and it's just, there's a lot of twists and turns in it, and you actually find out it's not as you think it is in the story, and it's just brilliantly done. I thought their performance as the Doctor. Now the Doctors again, Doctor and Millie don't really appear in it very much. They're really only part of the sort of on a screen in a bubble, so it's very weirdly done. And I think it's, yeah, but wow, they really, really, and I think the next one looks going to be good as well. Hopefully the one where Doctor Who goes to Bridgeton or wherever it is. Is it Bridgeton? Anyway, I've never watched it. I've never watched that series anyway, so I might be completely getting the name wrong. But I'm looking forward to that, which is really because I love Regency stories, the Jane Austen, all that sort of period. So it's, but I'm looking forward to that. I won't probably watch it tonight. I will be recording it anyway, and I will watch it at some point. That's the trouble. Sometimes you record it and you watch it about 2 or 3 days later. You have to avoid all the comments and spoilers online because otherwise that's it. You think, oh, I know the story already. But it never worries me too much, that actually. But other than that, not really watched much else. But what have you been watching? There's me talking about drivelling on all about all the films I've watched. That's how I'm looking forward to got a load of pile of films that I'm going to watch tonight. And like I say, Doctor Who as well. I'm certain I will watch in a short couple of days. Also got loads of other films on. I keep recording films and loads of horror films and science fiction films. Eventually I will get around to watching them. But what can you do? You have to read and do anything else as well. But what have you been watching? What have you seen? Anything great you think recommend? Any films? Any Japanese, like that horror film series? Anything similar to that? You think, if you like that, you'll like this film. It's always nice to know. That's why I love when the comments people say, oh, have you watched that film? Have you watched that? Sometimes I have. Yeah, I have watched it. But some, I don't know. I mean, are there any more like films like this one? The Hannie Caulder, I would love to know. British Westerns, maybe there are. Actually, I did buy a book that I loved. I haven't got it here. Offbeat. And that was great. It was filled with loads and loads, and I must do a review of it. Loads of films that I'd never heard of. There were some I have heard of, but loads of films I thought, you know what, that sounds a great film to get. That must be another film to get. So, lots more to watch just from that book. That was one of those ones that I think, yeah. Well, hope you found this of interest. Any thoughts, any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Bye.